Hi, Norma.
Hello.
I love your picture.
Thank you.
You're
Here's the
just,
real me. Here's the real me.
it's just as beautiful as the picture.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. We're going to have a nice group today. Folks are coming in. We have another Vicki on the call. Look at that. Hello, Vicki's iPhone. Vicki with an E, an IE.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great.
That's good.
Oh, hi, Co. Hi, Kelly.
Hi there.
There's Co.
Hello.
Sort of fading in out of your background. That's okay. I love the mountains.
Oh,
Hi,
thank you.
Nina. We have Andrew. Hi, Andrew. Clarissa, who are those beautiful people in your picture, your background picture there?
Those are my sons.
Oh, oh my gosh, they're beautiful.
Thank you.
Hey, Andrew, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's Flag Day. I'm just throwing it out there.
All right. Okay.
I also am going to copy something into the chat for you. Let me just put it in there. So for those of you who are comfortable working with the chat, I just put something, let me press enter. We have a new series that we are starting today. And I know we're going to have other folks joining us, but I'm just going to let folks know it's a daily lunch special. So we have Marge, who's been with us for, well over a year now. Marge has hosted some of the orientation sessions in the past. She's with our support team, and she is starting as of today a new session, a social hour that meets for lunch. And I've put the link, into the chat for you. And it's really just an opportunity to hop on a social hour meeting with Marge. It's at, I think she's scheduled for 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but then when you move backwards, it's lunchtime for somebody. And you know, it's a chance just for people to, instead of eating lunch by themselves or snacking by themselves, hop on a call, hop on a social hour with Marge and with others, and just enjoy some time, just shooting the breeze, talking about anything. Marge is lovely. I love her. And I just wanted to put that out there because I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And we have class today, but there are going to be times when I'm definitely going to hop on to her social hour for lunch and eat with others. Why not? Better than eating alone. That's what I always say. So I put that into the chat. Also, I just wanted to introduce John to the group. John is with our Get Set Up support team. And John is going to be here helping me monitor the chat. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to just put them in the chat. And if I miss them, John will draw my attention to them. Also, if anyone's having any technical issues, just let us know. We have a couple more folks joining us. And what I'm going to do is, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to be sharing my screen today. And it's a very relaxed group here. So for those of you who have any questions at all, please feel free to unmute yourself, ask away. Any questions that you have, feel free to put them in the chat. Let me share my screen. And I have 2 monitors that I work off of. So I have some things on one monitor, some things on my other monitor. So if you see me looking back and forth, That's why. I just have different things going on on different monitors. All right. So first of all, welcome everyone. And before I start, do we have any folks who are brand new to the Get Set Up community? Is this anyone's first class? Feel free to raise your hand, put it into the chat. If so, welcome. A little bit about me. I'm Vicki, your Get Set Up guide for today. I'm calling in from San Jose, California. Not sure if we have any other folks in the California area. If so, hi. Northern California here in the heart of Silicon Valley. So not surprisingly, I worked in the high-tech industry for 30 plus years, doing a number of different things, technical support, lots of technical training and instructional design. I've been fortunate to teach folks from around the world, people who are very technical, but also maybe more folks like yourself who are just starting to get into this world of technology, figuring out what it's all about. And being a guide with Get Set Up allows me to do what I love best, and that is educate folks about technology. So a little bit about me. You know, we're a training organization here at Get Set Up, and ideally we love it when people turn their cameras on. It's so much fun to be able to see each other. But I understand if you're, having lunch or having a meal, maybe your camera's not working today, or you're just not comfortable with your camera on. I leave that entirely up to you. It's more fun if we can see each other, but this is your call. Today's class is being recorded, and if you would like a copy of the recording, you can email us at help@getsetup.io. And please just tell us the date of the class as well as the title. And for those of you who are joining us via live stream, welcome, hello. You can see and hear everything that we're doing today, but really I always recommend that folks go to our website and register for a class so you can fully participate. You can enter questions into the chat, unmute yourself and ask a question. Also, I will be sending out after class notes today. You'll be getting an email from me, but if you're joining us via live stream, you won't get that email. So just an FYI. And remember, Get Set Up, we're a training organization. The guides are not paid to promote any specific products or services. For today, we are all about the training. We offer classes, interest groups, and social hours 7 days a week. And you can take these in the US, in the UK, India, Australia, New Zealand, and we're going to be bringing Singapore on board soon. So we have something to offer you 24/7, really exciting. If you are interested in maybe hosting an interest group or a social hour, if there's something that you're passionate about that you would like to share with others, we have a new button on our website, Apply to Host a Session. Give that a click and just let us know what you might be interested, what type of session you might like to host. And also, we've updated our website in the past few weeks or month or so, making it easier to invite others to join you with Get Set Up classes. So when you register for a class, you'll notice that we have these new buttons that you can click or tap on, and you can invite others to join you on a class or tell others on social media about classes. So some really exciting stuff. And don't forget, if you're on a mobile device, you can take classes, Get Set Up classes on your mobile device as well. So you can take it with you. You're no longer stuck at home, especially now that the weather is nicer and we're all sort of getting out more. All right, what are we going to talk about today? First of all, we have some general terms. I want to make sure everyone understands a little bit about cloud storage, some terms and concepts. Then we're going to dive into Google Drive and its components, understand a little bit better about how you work with Google Drive. and how you use the functions. And we'll also be talking about sharing files and folders, how you can do that as well. I'm just curious, folks, has anyone been working at all with Google Drive? Just feel free to give me a raise hand or unmute yourself. Andrew, okay, Myra all right, yeah, Vicki, Clarissa. So we have a few folks who've been using Google Drive, maybe just a little bit, and want to know some more. All right, great, thanks so much for that. I want to talk a little bit about cloud storage because this is really what Google Drive is about. So when you work with with cloud storage, what you're actually doing is you're taking all or some of your files that are on your local drive, whether you're working on a laptop, a desktop, a MacBook, something that has a hard drive, and you're moving those files up to really a computer that's sitting on the internet. That's what we mean when we talk about cloud. We're really talking about a computer that's hosted by a company, and it's on that computer's hard drive, if you will, where you're storing your information, your data. And what we have here in the middle of the screen here, the middle of the slide, this is a data center. And what you're seeing here are rows and rows and rows of computers that are on the internet, hooked up to the internet, and your data that you store on the cloud typically resides maybe in one or more of these computers in a data storage. Some of the larger names, the big names in what we call cloud storage, we're showing you down here at the bottom. iCloud is Apple's cloud storage application. OneDrive is Microsoft's cloud storage application. Dropbox is another company that's been around for quite some time. Dropbox is the name of the company and their application, their cloud storage application. And then there's Google Drive. This is Google's cloud storage application. And so that's what we're working with today. And let me know if you have any questions at all about cloud storage. And really what you're doing is you're taking some or all of your data and you're moving it off of your local drive. And now when we say it's up in the cloud, you're storing it on a computer that's typically sitting in one of these data centers, and you're storing it on a computer on the internet. That's secure. So what are some of the benefits of using cloud storage? Well, first of all, we talked about this idea of saving storage space on your device. So if you move some or all of your files up to the cloud, it frees up a lot of space on your storage, on your device, on your actual hard drive. Also, this idea of sharing and collaborating. When you have moved some or all of your files up to the cloud, it's very easy to share files with others, and they can collaborate on those files with you. So that's another big benefit of working with cloud storage. And then there's also this ability to access your data from any of your devices. So if you've stored some files up on, in this case, Google Drive or any of the cloud storage applications, you can access that data, those files, from any device, whether it's your desktop, a smartphone, or a tablet. And so this accessibility is really a big plus. And by the way, if you create a file and it's stored in cloud storage, if something happens to the device, maybe your hard drive just goes out on your PC or your laptop, those files or files that you created or that you stored in the cloud, they're just fine. Nothing has happened to them, and you can access them from any of your other devices. So just a little bit about cloud storage. And as we mentioned, Google Drive is Google's cloud storage application. So when you sign up for a Google account, a free Google account, part of that Google account is your Google Drive. It's your own personal storage area that's in the cloud. And you actually have 15 gigabytes of free storage capacity. That's the most storage capacity that I've seen out of all the applications, the cloud storage applications so far. So Google does a nice job of giving you a little bit more free storage. So that's Google Drive. How do we access the Google Drive? Well, today I'm working off of a Windows laptop. So I'm going to be accessing my Google Drive using the web. I'm just going to open up using a web browser, going to google.com. I'll sign on to my Google account, and you can sign up for a free account. And then by clicking on something called the waffle icon, this will get me to my Google Drive app. Now, if you're working off of a mobile device, whether it's a smartphone or a tablet, what you will need to do is go to if you're on an iPhone or an iPad, you'll go to the App Store, the Apple App Store, or if you're working off of Android device, you'll go to Google's Play Store, and you will download the app specifically to your device. And that's how you'll be working off of Google Drive. So today, I'm just working off of my web browser, the browser version, because I happen to be on a Windows laptop. And let me know if you have any questions about that. So what I'm going to do is open up, I have a browser window already open, and I've gone to google.com, logged on to my account, and this is that waffle icon that I'm talking about. If you click on it, what you'll see is a menu of all the different Google apps that are available with your Google account. And if I click on this drive here, this drive icon, it brings me to my Google Drive. Another way that you can get to your Google Drive is if you open up a web browser, and in the address bar up here, you can type out drive.google.com, and it will bring you to this same screen. And so let's talk a little bit about what we're seeing here. So this is my Google Drive. I have an account, my Google account, and this is what we're seeing here. When you first bring up your Google Drive, if you haven't used it before, one thing that you probably most likely will not see is this area over here under suggested. And so what Google does is as you're creating files and folders, opening up files and folders, working on things, it will remember the last set, the most often files that you've been working with, and it will put it in this suggested area here. This area will be blank for you when you first bring up your Google Drive, but as you start opening up more and more files, you'll see suggested files displayed here. And then down, when I scroll down at the bottom here, these are folders that I've created. And by the way, these same folders can be available to you if I move over to the left-hand navigation panel over here. If I were to click on the little upside down triangle or sideways triangle, it expands my drive, and you'll see these same folders here. So my drive is what comes automatically with your Google Drive application. I'm going to show you how you can create your own folders. And then within those folders, I'll show you how you can create files or how you can start uploading files. And so again, this is your navigation panel on the left here. I'm going to be walking through all the different folders here, but stop me if you have any questions. All right, so that's the layout, the general layout, and we'll be talking more about that. I put this Working with Folders 101 just because some folks might be so new to working with electronic folders, this whole idea. I just wanted to give a comparison. So for those of us, and we know who we are, we probably still have a filing cabinet, right? And we've used one all our lives. So when you think about a filing cabinet, in your filing cabinet, you'll have these individual folders. Well, think of your Google Drive as this filing cabinet drawer over here. And when you open it, you have individual folders, just like the folders in your cabinet. When you open up one of these folders, you may have different things in there. You may have invoices, letters, maybe you have, some photos, anything, spreadsheets, anything you can think of. And that's exactly what you're seeing here. So when you open up your Google Drive, you will be creating folders similar to the good old manila folders we have here. And then within a folder, you will be starting to add individual files, whether they're photos, spreadsheets, word processing documents, you name it. And so I'm hoping that will give you a little bit of a visual. What happens when you go to My Drive and you open it? It's similar to opening up that filing cabinet that, I still have one. I still have paper in there too. So this is just to give you more of a visual. And let me know if anybody has any questions about that. So let's start working with the navigation panel. I want to show you how you can start actually using Google Drive to upload files and even create files on the fly. So I'm going to go back to my Google Drive. And the first thing I want to show you is how can we start adding folders, adding files. And you'll see, again, I'm on a laptop. If you're working on a smartphone or a iPad or something like that, the folders may be just some of the buttons may be a teeny bit different, but you'll still be able to follow along. So I'm going to click on this new button, and there's a menu that drops down. Folder, file upload, folder upload. And what these are allowing you to do is if I click on folder, what it's doing is it's allowing me to create a brand new folder. And I'll just call it Monday folder for lack of creativity. And then I'm going to click on create. And what it's doing is it now allows me to create a folder. And if I double click on that folder, I'm now able to start either uploading files from my computer, from my desktop, and I drop them in there, or I can show you how we can start creating files using any of the Google apps. But first of all, what I want to show you is when I click on new, in addition to creating a brand new folder, you also have the option to upload files or upload folders from your computer's hard drive. So if I were to select, for example, file upload right from this menu, and I have some miscellaneous files here. If I were to select, I have a miscellaneous file here, I'll click on that, and then I'll click on open, and I'm in my downloads folder on my PC, on my laptop. What I'm doing here is I'm uploading a file from my laptop's hard drive. It's now sitting in the cloud in my Google Drive folder called Monday folder that I just created. Anybody have any questions about what I've done so far? I'm simply moving files, uploading files from my hard drive, my computer's hard drive, up to my Google Drive in the cloud. Now, one thing that I wanted to mention, when I moved this miscellaneous file, when I uploaded it, excuse me, what I did was I made a copy of the file that is sitting on my computer's hard drive, and I moved a copy of the file into this Monday folder. This original miscellaneous folder is still sitting on my computer's hard drive. I have not removed it. I've simply made a copy and moved it up to my Monday folder that is now sitting in the cloud in my Google Drive. And let me know if anyone has a question about that. And again, if I click on this new button, if I were to select folder upload, again, what it's going to do is it's going to come to my computer. It's opening up File Explorer in my computer. I can scroll up and down and select any of my files and folders. I have a testing folder right here. I'll select that. We'll upload it. I'll go ahead and yes, I would like to upload all those files. And now what I've done is I've uploaded a folder into my other Monday folder. Does anybody have a question about uploading files and folders? Okay, just stop me if you do. So now this is a really nice thing to be able to use, this little, can you upload picture files into folders? Yes, you can. You can upload just about anything. So if I were to click on new and select file upload, let's see, my PC, where do I want to be? Under my downloads, I think I have, this is what we call a JPEG file. If I open that up, this is a JPEG file. Now you'll see it, I've uploaded it to my Monday folder. And that's important when you're working with your drive. If I click on my drive right here, it brings me to the top level of my Google Drive, and you have your different folders, and here's that Monday folder. If I double click on it, I'm now sitting in my Monday folder, and any pictures, any documents that I upload from here will be held in this Monday folder. And so that's how you're going to navigate as well. You can simply click on these different folders over here on the left-hand side, and it will just move you to your individual folders that you've created. And here's that Monday folder that I had. Any questions about this before I move on? All right.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure, Terry.
Vicki, could we save a bunch of steps here and just save our documents from the get-go in the cloud?
You can. And so one of the things that you can do, if I click on the new button, we talked about creating a new folder, uploading files, uploading folders. And again, this is going to be from your PC. You'll also notice here, if you want to work with any of the Google applications, Google Docs, Sheets, Slide, Forms, and there are a few others, I can go over here up to, let's say I want to create a new Google document and I'm sitting in this Monday folder. If I were to click on, if I highlight this little great, it looks like a greater than symbol, I can create a brand new document. I can create a template, or if I click on blank document, what's happening is it'll bring me to Google Docs. I can start typing, this is my Monday document. There we go. I can give it a title, Monday test. And then I'm going to close this tab because it'll close out of my Google Docs application. And what you're seeing here is in my Monday folder, I have now created a brand new document. It's a word processing document called Monday test. And so by clicking on this new button, you have the option to create files on the fly using any of the Google applications, docs, sheets, slides, and so on.
So you're saying on the fly, does that mean that you wouldn't necessarily create your documents all together in the cloud?
That's exactly what I'm doing. When I click on new and I select one of these Google applications,
Yes.
when for example, I can create a blank spreadsheet and you're actually creating the file right now. So if I were to just give it a title, maybe, Monday expenses. And then I could simply just start, putting in information here. This is, gobbledygook. I would, create columns, and as soon as I close this, it's going to save it automatically. And here's that Monday expenses file right there.
Okay.
And so that's one option. You can use this new button to create different files right then and there in your folder, or upload, existing files or folders that you have actually sitting on your PC or your MacBook, that kind of a thing. So hopefully that helps answer that question for you, Terry.
Yes.
And again, it's just getting used to it. And by the way, if you have a Google account, go ahead and access your Google Drive and then start creating folders, and feel free to upload files or create files. This is your personal little holding bin, if you will, on your Google Drive, and you can do anything you wish. So you're not touching anything else. So yeah, sure, go ahead.
Cloud, in all actuality, could replace an external hard drive.
It could if you wanted to. Yes. What I tend to do is I still have things on my hard drive, on my computer's hard drive, but I also will move certain things up to the cloud. I like to use that as a nice backup feature. So, instead of having, a backup program, you can also pick and choose which folders you would like to load up to your drive. And you can use that either just as the primary drive that you work on, or you can use it as a backup. And so there may be times when you want to just work off of your hard drive on your computer, or you prefer to work off of your Google Drive. And we'll talk a little bit about backing files up as well, syncing up your files.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. A few other things you can do, since we're talking about creating folders, creating files. I created a testing subfolder here. There are a number of other things you can do when you're working on files and folders in Google Drive. And so for me, this miscellaneous file here, because I'm working on my PC with my mouse, if I right click on a particular file in a folder, right clicking drops down this menu. And there are a number of different things that you can do with this menu. Let me show you just a few of them. So for example, when I right clicked on this miscellaneous file, I can select rename, and what it'll do, it is, for example, my test, rename file. It's hard to get creative sometimes. And so I was able to rename a file. Again, right clicking on my mouse brings up this list. I can make a copy of a file, and you'll see it's creating a copy. Here is that copy. Right clicking on the file itself, I can rename it, steps to rename a file. You can rename this file and make it anything you wish. And so these are some of the options you have. If I right click on the file once more, I can remove it. I can also download the file. And when I select download, what it's doing is it's actually making a copy of this file and it's sending it to my download folder on my PC. And so I would then be able to access this file from File Explorer. And it's now, a copy is now physically sitting on the hard drive of my PC, of my laptop, whatever you're working off of. So a few other things that you can do, and stop me if you have any questions. So we talked about downloading, we talked about making a copy, how we can rename a file. I can select something called Add to Start. So if I select that, what happens is you'll notice that there's a little star that shows up. If there are certain files that you work with frequently and you want to access them quickly, you don't want to have to hunt through your different folders. One of the things that you might want to do is star a folder. When you do that, you'll see that if we come over here to the left-hand navigation panel, we have an entry here called starred. If I click on starred, then anything that I've flagged as starred shows up here. And these may just be a handful of files that you like to access very quickly. Maybe you work with them every day and you want to have a really quick way. You don't want to have to hunt or search in your drive. And so that's a nice thing to be able to do, is select this starred option. Anybody have any questions about that? I'm going to click on my Monday folder to get back. Yeah, Myra, question.
Yes, two questions. One is, when you say it downloads it to your download folder, you don't have an option as to where to download it to. It's just the general download folder. I'm in Windows.
Exactly. Yep, that's what it does. Yep.
Okay. And my second question is related to something we covered before. So you said when you uploaded, say, a file to your Google Drive, but that file is still on your computer somewhere. When you change that file, does it change it in Google Drive, or it's static?
It's static, but if you decide to synchronize your changes, I'm going to talk about that, sync your files, then anything you change, for example, if you have that file both in your Google Drive as well as your PC's hard drive, if you've synced it, then whatever change you make in, for example, Google Drive, that change will be synced down to your PC folder and that file will be updated, and vice versa. If you make a change to a file sitting on your PC, if you've flagged your folder as synced, or sync up that file, those changes will be made also to your Google Drive. So I'll show you how you can sync up your folders and files. Yeah, great question. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And so if I right click on a file here, we've talked about how you can remove a file. And if I click on remove, what it's doing is it's taking it out of my Monday folder and it's moving it to something called the trash. Now you have a few seconds to undo that move, but just know that if you delete or move a file to trash, if you come over here to your left navigation panel and you select the trash icon, you click on that, any file that you've recently deleted within the last 30 days will still be here in the trash. And you can always retrieve it. So for example, Monday test, if I right click, on my Monday test file, I can restore this file and it will bring it back up to the folder that I created earlier in our session today. Now, I can also delete a file forever. So we're going to talk about storage in just a moment, But when you delete a file forever, you can't get it back. It is just wiped clean. But if you've deleted a file, like I just showed you, it will stay in your trash for 30 days. And until that 30-day period, you can always, I'm right-clicking with my mouse, you can always restore it to your Google Drive. Now, reasons why you might want to delete files forever. Maybe you're running out of some space on your Google Drive. You can, what we call, empty the trash. And if you have lots of files that are sitting in your trash bin here, it will remove them all to free up a little bit of space for you. And speaking of space, if we come over here to the left-hand navigation panel, you'll see that there's this icon called storage. And right now, remember with your Google Drive, you have up to 15 gigabytes of free space. And if any of you, by the way, are using Gmail, not sure if you folks are, anybody using Gmail here, just curious. Yeah, Myra, Mina, okay, we may have a couple of other folks. Terry, are you using Gmail? Okay, Carly and Clarissa. Yeah, so what happens if you're using Gmail, that counts towards this 15 gigabytes of usage. So just an FYI, people, don't realize that. And Annie, did you have a question or you were just joining in on? Yes, I use Gmail.
Yes, I use Gmail.
Okay, got it. So if you do use Gmail, it does count towards this 15 gigabytes. But what you'll see here is right now, I just have 8.5 megabytes being used up on my this 15 gigabytes. And if you do click on storage, I just want to let people know, when you select storage, what that will do, I'm sorry, if I click buy storage, if I click on buy storage, that brings you to this screen that enables you to purchase additional storage space. So you start off with this 15 gigabytes of free space that you're allotted. And if you're finding that you're starting to run out of space, honestly, it's really not that expensive to purchase more storage space. For $2 a month, you can purchase an additional 100 gigabytes of storage space. For $3 a month, you can purchase an additional 200 gigabytes of storage space. And then for $10 a month, you can purchase 2 terabytes of space. So a lot of space is available to you. And I just wanted to show you where, if you click on that buy storage, where this comes from, where you're going. So any questions about storage, buying storage, or the trash? Nope. All right.
I've got a question, Vicki.
Yeah, sure, Co.
If you have more than one Google address, I actually have 2. Do I get 15 gigabytes for each one of those addresses, or is it, since I'm using the same computer to make these addresses, I wondered if Google had a way of knowing that this was coming from the same person, and thereby you're still limited to 15 gigabytes, or whether you actually get 30 gigabytes.
You actually, so for each of your logins, I have about 5 different logins that I use. A lot of them are for training purposes. Each of my logins has that 15 gigabytes of storage available.
Oh, that's great. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it is. It is. So, for training purposes, I have different Google accounts. I use them for different things. So that's, I have my own personal Google account as well. And then I'm sure I'm starting to come up to my 15 gigabytes. But yes, great question. Thank you for asking.
Thank you.
All right. And so again, this is just when you right click on, in my case, remember, I'm working off of the PC. I have a mouse, I'm right clicking. These are some of the options available to you. You can also move files. If I click on the move to, there's different ways you can move. I can just use this screen to navigate through to different folders and then click on move. Or I'm just going to click on the X to close this particular folder. I can also drag a file into another folder. And then if I open up my grandparents folder, there it is. And so again, I'm just clicking and dragging my file into other folders. And so one more time, let's right click. These are all the different options that you can work with: deleting, copying, renaming, moving, some of your basic features. A few other things I wanted to go over with you, and I'm going to advance to, files and folders, creating files and folders. We talked about some of these features. Let's talk a little bit about sharing files with others. So Google makes it really easy to share files, to share folders. And by default, everything in your Google Drive, all of your files, all of your folders are private. No one else has access to them except for you. If you want to give folks access to your files and folders, you need to share them. So let me show you how you're going to do that. I'm back on my Monday folder here in my Google Drive. And if I wanted to share a file, let's say, again, I'm right-clicking because I'm using a mouse today, and I can select share, and it will ask me, who do I want to share this with? And I can simply type out different email. I'm going to type out email addresses here. These are some crazy email addresses I've come up with. And so this allows me to share this file with other people. They may have a Gmail account, they may not. You can specify, do I want to give them editing capabilities? Do I just want them to be able to make comments? Or are they simply going to be a viewer? And you'll select that option, and then you can just say, when it comes to a message, because they're going to get this via email, hi, just sharing this file with you, make the necessary edits. Then you'll click on send. And what you've done is you've now shared a file with those email addresses, and they can bring up the file. There are different things they'll be able to do depending upon what editing capabilities you gave them. And so we actually have a whole nother class on sharing files, but I just wanted to show this to you. So is there a size limit of the file that you share? Maybe not. Let me verify that for you, Terry. Limit for sharing. Before I say no, let me verify that for you, because I should know the answer to that. And in the after class notes that I'll be sending out, I'll make sure to include that. So thanks for the question, though. There is probably, I know that there are limits to the size of the file that you can upload to your Google Drive, but in terms of sharing, and John's put some great information into the chat. Thank you, John. Thanks for that. And so, here we go. So individual users can upload 750 gigabytes each day. So that's a daily limit. And so there you go. There's a daily limit towards when you're working with your free Google Drive. So take a look in the chat. So thank you for that, John. Yes. So we talked a little bit about file sharing. You can share individual folders as well. So it's not just a file that you can share, but if you come up, if I go to my drive, if I right click on a folder, I can share the contents of a folder as well. And so that has to do with sharing, sharing files with others, makes it really easy for collaborating. Let's talk a little bit about file syncing. So when you upload your files and folders, as I've been showing you here, I'll just go back to my drive for a moment. When I created my Monday folder and I uploaded some files, I created some files, by default, I have not synced up this folder. Nothing in my files is synced up. So if I make changes to something on my actual hard drive, that file the changes have not been uploaded. So if you would like to start synchronizing files from your drive on your machine to your Google Drive, you can do that. So what do we mean by syncing? So if you make any changes, whether you're adding a file, you're updating a file, or you're deleting a file, all of these changes will become synced up between your hard drive on your PC and your Google Drive. And so, you just need to be a little bit careful when you think about this. Google has something called a backup and sync tool, and this is what you'll download and enable to sync your files between your devices. So let me just hop back up to my Google Drive here. And if I click on this little gear icon over here, you'll see that there's a Get Backup and Sync for Windows. And what that will do is if I click on it, it's going to take you through all of the steps that you'll need to download the syncing tool and set it up. And I'm not going to do it now, but just know that once you do sync this up, you have the option to say, I want just these folders to be synced and nothing else. Because I will tell you, you do have to pay attention when you load this syncing files and folders. If you're not specific and you don't pick and choose which folders you want to sync, or maybe there are particular files, it will attempt to sync your entire hard drive. Now remember, with your free copy, with your free Google Drive, you only get 15 gigabytes. And if you go past that, you're going to have to purchase additional storage. So again, we don't have time here to teach you how to do all the syncing, but just be aware of this. And so again, what I did was I clicked on the gear, this gear icon, and then I selected Get Backup and Sync for Windows. And so what you'll be able to do is pick and choose which folders from your hard drive you would like to sync up with your Google Drive. And so that is syncing up your files. And so I just wanted to go over a few things and let me know if anybody has any questions about anything that we've been talking about. So just remember, your Google Drive provides you with 15 gigabytes of free storage. And your files that you created with this Google, you can select new, and you can actually create new files on your Google Drive by selecting any of these Google applications in the drop-down menu. So that's a pretty neat way of doing that. In addition, remember, you can upload files and folders from your computer's hard drive to your Google Drive. But if you want to sync those up, you'll need to install the syncing option. And then don't forget that your files and folders on your Google Drive, remember, you can share folders, files with others just by selecting this share option. But be careful, if you're going to share your files and folders, if you give them full sharing capabilities, your users can delete things, they can make changes. So we have a class on that as well. And are there any questions on anything we've covered so far? I know I've gone through this quickly, so if somebody has any specific questions, please stop and just ask me anything you're unsure of. We have a quiet group today. Yeah, Myra.
I have a question. It's not specific, but in general. Did you say that this class is being recorded so that we could go back and look at it again?
Yes, it is being recorded. And if you would like, you can just email us help@getsetup.io and just ask for a copy of today's class, a copy of today's recording, and they will send it to you. And then you can go through at your own pace and just, go through everything that we've talked about today and experiment, take a file or a folder and upload it to your Google Drive. Create new, by clicking on the new button, create new folders. Feel free to create new files, because once you have a Google account, you have access to all the Google apps.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you're very welcome. And before I let you go, I just wanted to go to the Get Set Up Live site. And if there were other classes that you were interested in, first of all, we have a really interesting speaker coming up on, I think it's Thursday, Pete Souza. We've really been able to sign up some amazing speakers with our speaker session. And so take a look at some of our upcoming speakers that we're hosting. Really, really interesting. And also other Google, if I were to select, I'm just going to type out Google and press enter. These are some of the other Google apps, other classes that we're teaching that you might want to take a look at. So really interesting stuff too. So go ahead and take a look at that. We have a lot of, fun classes, or request a copy of today's class. And then I just wanted to thank everyone for joining me today. We're coming up on the hour. This just happened so quickly. Here are some other, we have lots of Google classes that we're offering. Please go ahead and take a look. I have a class that I'm offering on Google Duo. It's our free video calling app. I also have a new class that we're offering on Facebook Messenger Rooms. So if you're interested in that, please go ahead and just take a look. I am going to stop sharing my screen. And if anybody has any questions, please just let me know. I'll be happy to answer them. Otherwise, happy Flag Day, everyone. Happy Monday. And I hope to see you in other classes that I teach. And just have a wonderful rest of your Monday, whatever you'll be doing, wherever you are.
Hi, Vicky.
Take care, everyone. And let me know if you have any
Thanks,
questions.
Vicki.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. And go ahead and play with Google Drive.
All right, thank you.
You can't hurt anything. You're so welcome.